Hi, this is Greg Kilstrom. Welcome to the Agile World podcast, where we discuss customer experience, employee experience, and transformation in an agile age. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at theagile.world and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, a blueprint for creating an experience-led organization, now available on Amazon and other retailers. My name is Greg Kilstrom, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of CareerGig and host of the Agile World podcast. Today, we're going to talk about agility and how we relate to ourselves. While we've all grown up with unique backgrounds, habits, and things we were taught as the true measures of success, as we go through life, we can often find that those things, even if well-intentioned, are either incorrect or don't apply to us as they might have been intended. The challenge then is to find a way to continually improve ourselves in order to be better. I talk a lot about agile processes and how companies can use them to improve everything from customer and employee experience to branding and marketing. But today we're going to talk about applying transformation to oneself. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Laura DiBenedetto, best-selling author and CEO of Vision Advertising. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're off to a really good start.
Great. Well, let's start by talking about your book, The Six Habits. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the premise and just what readers could expect from it?
Awesome. I would be delighted to. So, The Six Habits is an antidote to basically our internal chaos. A lot of the times we are stuck on the hamster wheel and we're building lives and on the momentum for the sake of momentum. And this book is all about helping us to stop, really evaluate, really get 100% right with ourselves. So then we can really carefully craft the lives we want with the kind of integrity we really care about. And the book came from a place of profound need on my part because, I retired from my first company at 37, which was a great accomplishment, except when I did that, I was just tired and not feeling proud of myself. If anything, I felt ashamed, like I hadn't accomplished more, and that's ridiculous. So I just stopped to question a lot of things, and I found some absolutely life-changing stuff. And it changed my life in such a massive way that I wanted to share it with others. And I did that. And the book needed to be written so I could share it with hopefully millions and millions of people.
That's great. Well, why don't you give us an example of, one of the habits or one of the ideas from the book and how someone might apply that to their life and work?
Cool. So the six habits overall, I want to be really, really clear about this. The six habits are not six epiphanies. They are not six values. They're not six ideas. These are six habits. And what is a habit? It's something that we just do automatically. And so in order to answer your question, I have to back up and tell you a little bit of background into why and what I found.
Sure.
So when I was getting ready to retire, I was burnt out, I was tired, I was all these things, but I was also being a super bitty better. I was just like, just so bitter, wasn't happy, wasn't like, I don't know. I was really no fun to be around and I was just depressed. I was burnt out, right? And it made me wonder, like, well, what is happiness really? And if it's not the success, if it's not having all the toys, then where did I go wrong? And I felt a little upset at, I guess, society and a lot of external forces, including my parents, who meant well, pushing me to create a life of accomplishment and money and success and all these things with the goal and the theoretical understanding that it would make me happy and fulfilled. It didn't. So I wanted to understand, well, what actually would make someone happy and fulfilled? So I started researching and taking a look at all of the things that I've ever looked at, studied, read, participated in life. And believe me, I've done like the books, the programs, the retreats, everything,
Yeah.
and I did that over the course of the 19 years that I had running the company. And it didn't stick. And so I started looking at, okay, well, what were the nuggets in there? Also, what are the most happy and successful people among us doing? And happy and successful people, how are we as a culture defining that? And what does it really mean? And who's truly happy and successful? So once I stripped away the cultural definition of success, which is, the race to have the most toys, right?
Right.
I started finding that success and happiness are not what we think they are. And success at work and success in our professional lives and the things that we're trying to actually create, when we are approaching them from a more internal place, turns out we can achieve so much more on the spectrum of what we want to build in our bigger lives. So, long story short, I was doing all this incredible research, learning about what the most happy and successful people have. And you know what it is? It's habits. All of these people, like, think about the people you admire. Think about anyone you admire. Like, wow, that person's really got it all together and their life is going really well. And, they're happy and they're doing big things and whatever. That
Yeah.
person has their habits to help them actually create that life. So I wanted to, figure out what it is, did a massive inventory, and turns out everything that contributes to the success, well-being, and overall joy of a person can come down to 6 categories of habitual behaviors that once I started doing a lot more research, they get simpler, 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 simpler. And these are the 6 habits. So the 6 habits are habitual things that we need to be automatic and in default with every single day, and not just like, oh yeah, I have to remember to floss. Not a
Right.
habit.
Right.
Mm-mm. Although you should floss. I say that a lot. Everybody floss, only floss the teeth, you want to keep. But, the thing about habits is like it's automatic. And the habits are kindness to yourself, acceptance of yourself, which is unconditional love for yourself, and gratitude and presence and the habit of goodness and the habit of intention. And, I'm going to be super, super clear with you, Greg. Everybody hears these habits and they're like, oh, whatever. These are easy. Really?
Sure.
If they're so easy, then why is your life not everything you ever dreamed of? Explain that to me. So
Yeah.
it's just because something's simple, it doesn't mean that we are masters of it. And this is what I found the hard way, because when I was looking at all of this stuff, I had the duh moment where it was like, well, duh, of course I need to be kind to myself. Okay, then Laura, why aren't you doing it? Ah, therein lies the rub. Because I've been trained over a life of career and trying to make other people happy and trying to make my mom proud and trying to make my clients happy and whatever, that that I need to constantly put myself last. I need to make other people happy and blah, 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 blah. And, and I can spur myself on by not being kind to myself. And,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't accepting myself. And then when the rubber met road and I needed to take all these habits and apply them, I was like, oh my God, this is hard. So then I developed
Yeah.
this 90-day program because naturally the next question for me as an entrepreneur who likes to solve problems was, okay, well, I am the most stubborn person on the planet, and I'd still like to achieve my goal, which is actually be truly happy, and find real success, regardless of what anybody else thinks. Well, how the hell am I going to do that? So turns out I
Yeah.
needed habit building behaviors along with the logic and the self inquiry, because it all begins with self awareness. Like, you have to have the epiphany that, oh, things are not going according to the way I really most dream of. Number one. Number two, you need to realize that you and your habits are what built your life the way it is. And the reason it is off center from what you truly desire is because of you and your habits that you have now. And then you can do something about it. That's the third point. And then the fourth one, which was really the big game changer, that was like the real noggin scratcher, was like, how? And that's
Yeah.
repetitious behaviors. That's how you form habits. So then I started researching habit. So listen, I say this as the CEO of a marketing company. I mean to impugn no one, but marketers and salespeople will have you believe that habits can be formed in 21 days because that fits nicely on a box. or 30 days. These
Right.
are marketing lies and they're shiny and sexy, but they're just not true. Science, and I'm a mega geek when it comes to this stuff, science says that habits take 66 days to form. Do you remember how I said I'm the most stubborn person alive? Um, that was an important point for me because I'm like, oh, damn it, I'm also a human. So I
Right.
need to build in a buffer because I'm not perfect and I don't see me actually doing anything successfully 66 consecutive days in a row and crushing it. So I'm going to go ahead and hedge my bets. I built a 90-day thing for myself. Turns out it's Laura proof. I changed my life so massively and I started changing other people's lives. It's like I am now in service to the community of the planet to put this message out there in businesses and corporations and leadership and families because other people deserve this information. And I'm actually really upset that we've all been denied it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think when I hear habit, I kind of go to process and structure, and how much of it is that, like, teaching ourselves to do something over 90 days. I mean, I think I'm with you as far as I think it would take me a little more than 66 days to truly form a habit, but it seems like, I guess, how much of it is if you put together a program that is very regimented, you're guaranteed success, and what's the how much is it willingness? How much is it just if you keep following something, your body kind of learns to do something? Or does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think we're all stubborn in a way because our old self has no interest in just being like, okay, well, I'll just go away.
Yeah.
No. Our old self is like, no, no, no. I have these habits for a reason. It's to protect me and blah, blah, blah. Even if they're not serving you,
Right.
your habits are there. So, it doesn't matter. Like, I know you have a lot of listeners that focus on business, and this really applies to business because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And when you're thinking about your success in the professional world, you're thinking about your success as a human. They are intrinsically tied. There is no separation.
Yeah.
So whenever we're trying to acquire a habit, a big part of what's going on is our old self is being like, no, 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 I don't want that. I don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. So a big part of the 90-day thing that I had to build for myself was constant production of evidence of why this is important to me and what I am continually getting out of it. And the thing that humans love, we like winning. Do you like
Yeah.
winning, Greg? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I am a huge fan of winning. And the thing that people need, think about us, like, take us all back to kindergarten. Wasn't it nice to get the gold star? Wasn't it
Right.
awesome to have your teacher say, hey, great job? We
Yeah.
need that. And that is built into what I created because, again, being stubborn, I need those things because, like, if I'm not getting the constant dopamine hits, I'm going to quit.
Right.
I just am.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of people will. Like, you need constant positive affirmation that's like, yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, you're on the right track. You know what? You just stumbled. It's okay. Get back up. Tomorrow's a better day. Look how far you've come. Like, you need this stuff and
Yeah.
you need to develop the habit. So, one of the things that I was concerned about when I was creating the whole program for myself, and for others was like, well, I'm not really trying to build a habit to be stuck in this 90-day thing. So my habit is constantly doing the thing that is within the program. I want to make sure I'm actually learning the behaviors. So the stuff that's in there it's a lot of like evaluation and just thinking, and the thinking and the consciousness and the awareness and the constant reward is a big part of like what I needed to build. And that's actually why it works. You know, so many people that I've worked with one-on-one, everybody comes into it thinking, oh, I'm really good at kindness to myself. Really? Are you? Tell me how you psyched yourself out of the last cold call you were going to make. Go ahead. I'll wait. And they're like, yeah, I talked myself out of it. I know. And why did you do that? I didn't want to do it. Right. Why didn't you want to do it? Well, because I didn't think I'd be successful. Aha! You didn't think you'd be successful, so you self-sabotage and you use creative avoidance because you were not being kind to yourself. Ta-da! Yes, you need to work on it.
Yeah.
It's so much more prevalent than we realize. And, you'll get lots of people that like have a really puffed up ego and they're like, oh, I'm fine. I totally accept myself. Yeah, I love myself. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you
Yeah.
did, you wouldn't be needing to puff yourself up and constantly be getting other people's approval. You wouldn't be worried about what other people think and impressing this one and impressing that one. You'd be living in high integrity. You'd be a really calm individual and you'd be pretty chill about just about everything. Like these 6 habits, and when you master them, it changes who you are. And I know this because I actually had a meeting with our corporate attorney at my marketing company yesterday, and I hadn't spoken to her in 3 years because of the aforementioned retirement.
Right.
And she said to me, she's like, Laura, you're so different. Who are you? I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, you're so calm and nice and positive. And then she's like, but not that you weren't nice before. I'm like, no. I was the biggest bitch on the planet. I'm aware. But this is what happens when you actually tune in, listen to yourself, tend to yourself, invest in yourself. You get to truly become your best expression of you. And that touches everything you do. Your colleagues, your clients, your coworkers, your bosses, your stockholders, everything. Everybody feels this incredible like success vibe coming off of you, and they want more of it, and they want to be more in your orbit, give you more money, give you more opportunities. And it's like that whole like the stuff with The Secret, like you just become a magnet for the things you want.
Well, one of the things I talk about in a lot of different ways on this show is just the Agile methodology. And sometimes it gets very narrowly focused on something very technical. But I think in a broader sense of Agile and agility is the concept of not only, structure to make sure that you're evaluating and, in this case, self-evaluating, but also the idea of continual improvement. And I think that requires some of the self-awareness that you're talking about. So, talk a little bit about, establishing the habits and making sure that you're being, successful in following those is one piece of this. But how do you measure success and then by that token, how do you measure improvement using these habits?
Great question. Well, first of all, I believe in continual self-improvement, but coming from a very specific place. There's so many people in the personal and professional development world that have things to offer, like I do, that would have you believe that you need what they're selling because you are broken and their widget will fix it.
Yeah.
I don't buy that. Like you're complete, you're whole, you're great, and you're probably already good at some of the 6 habits in different ways. A big part of realizing where we need to go is recognizing what we're great at already. And I think that's an important thing that we really need to give to people is the congratulations for being an awesome and successful human as you are right now. Like, sure, you can make tweaks, but it cannot be from a place of self-loathing. It needs to be from a place of enthusiasm and self-love and self-appreciation. And it's so weird to probably hear about the idea of self-love and appreciation and personal development in like a professional space, which for so many years was like the two worlds. No, they don't mix, except they should, because you've got individual humans inside of businesses, and be it Agile or not, you're still human. You still need things. And to deny our humanity is ridiculous. So all that said, yes, absolutely. We should always be seeking to improve from a place of enthusiasm, curiosity, excitement. Like I'm learning Italian right now. For the record, it's going like crap, but I'm having a ball. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. But I'm doing it just because I am excited. My husband is from Italy, and it's just fun. And I'm doing it not because I feel like, oh God, I need my in-laws to like me. And when we go over there, I have to speak to them so they accept me. They're fine with the Americano that can't speak it. Everything more than like, ciao, come stai, But like, I am doing it from a place of self-love, right? We all need to do that when it comes to the 6 habits or anything else we do, anything at all. And when we measure success, it's begins with the understanding that you're successful now, period. Like, even though I'm crappy right now, according to, am I fluent in Italian? No. But I'm successful in the fact that I'm showing up. I'm
Yeah.
successful in the fact that I'm trying and that I care and that it's making me happy to do it. And that's all I need. And, big picture, we laugh and they're like, oh, that's so cute. When little kids say to us, I want to be happy when I grow up, when we ask them what they want to be, we laugh at
Yeah.
them. That's not okay. Like, that's actually the only correct answer. Because really, at the end of the day, what's your dream job? I'm sorry, I don't dream of labor. Nobody does. Okay, we
Right.
don't
Right.
dream of
Yeah.
labor and efforting. Oh my God, I'm so excited to work my life away. No, like, what occupation or roles would you like to inhabit when you get older? Okay, cool. But the little kids that answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they answer happy. Those are the most amazing little senseis among us that, like, they know what's up, you
Yeah.
know? So, back to your question about how do we know that we're successful in learning these habits, you're going to know by how you feel. If you're waking up every day ready to punch life in the face because you're so pumped about everything, cool. That's a good sign. Are you getting along better with your spouse? Are people noticing how fun you are to talk to? Do you have a bounce in your step? Are you excited to try new things? Are you finding that you're growing and starting to be the very best version of yourself that you've always dreamed you could be? Like, are you, like, for me, a lot of the benefits that I got out of it were, I found profound courage to do some really big things. I fixed my broken relationships with some people that I'd fallen out of touch with on purpose. And I found deeper levels of spirituality. I totally transformed how I showed up in a professional space. Less dragon lady, more compassionate, inspiring leader. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Made people excited to work for me and with me. And they were excited to be in my orbit versus like, oh God, here she comes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's a different set of metrics, but it's still. Yeah. I mean, I think there's two things here. I mean, one is I think we are all taught. It's not even the wrong metrics all the time, but we're taught a specific set of metrics as the only metrics, and not a broader set, or maybe a better set in some cases of happiness. Like there's I don't know. There's less easy ways to measure happiness than there are dollars in your bank account. And therefore, what in my experience running a marketing agency, what I'd often tell clients is, just because you can see some of those metrics doesn't mean they're the metrics you should be paying attention to. And I think, maybe
Correct.
maybe that applies here as well. Is we can see certain
Sorry.
things like, again, how many dollars we have or how many awards we've won or this or that, but that more abstract things like, yeah, how happy am I with myself or with others or whatever. That's
Well, and
because
also
it's hard to
burnout.
measure. Yeah.
Burnout's a really big indicator. And, you know, being the burnt out CEO, I mean, granted, I'm super proud of what I've built. I love my company. But 19 years of doing something the wrong way will burn you out, even
Yeah.
if you love it. And
Yeah.
been there, done that. And yeah, metrics, I'm all about it. So, the metrics that we need to be like really more closely attuned to would be the things that we've trained ourselves out of listening to. Like, am I not dreading Monday anymore? That's a really
Right.
good metric to pay attention to. When Friday comes, do I stay at work late because I'm just like super pumped to be working on this thing? Or, when I get home, do I have more of a bounce in my step and I'm so happy to see my wife or my husband? Um, are my kids giving me external feedback about how nice I am lately? And wow, you're so much fun again, mommy. You know, like, we can see lots of external feedback about how things are affecting us when we begin this mastery journey. Even if we don't trust our own intuition yet, we have been totally, as a culture here in the United States, bred and cultured to not trust our intuition. And our intuition, I got to be honest with you, is one of our most important senses that they don't talk about. We've got the five senses. Wrong. We've got more than that. Intuition is one of them. And it's like that whole gut instinct. Let me tell you, I have made millions and millions and millions of sales because of my intuition. This is a good fit. I can feel it in my gut. Or, ooh, that's the client from hell backing away slowly. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Everybody knows what we're talking about. And you know what? Chances are you're probably visualizing someone in your head like, yep, that guy. So, and it's like a little guilty giggle. It's like, yep. But the thing is, if we start to actually realize that our intuition is really damn smart. I remember, great example. So I own two companies, and my second company is the education company that is the pillar that supports the 6 habits. And it's all about helping people to transform their lives and all of that stuff. Okay. I hired my publicist. My publicist on paper is not qualified for the job, and she'll be the first one to tell you that. But she's still the right one for the job. And I remember in the beginning, the first month, and I'm throwing her under the bus, and she's going to listen to this later. Hi, Lisa, love you. We were talking about this, and I remember how she was, constantly trying to prove her worth, like I'd made a good decision, not realizing that I didn't make a decision from a place of logic. I made the decision following my intuition and using all of my senses to arrive at the correct decision versus the what looks good on paper decision. I mean, hey, listen, I've gotten lots of jobs that I am not qualified for, but I was the right person for the job because of who I am. Right?
Right.
It's the same thing with her. So I had a chat with her, like a month in, and she's exhausted and she's really burning herself out, trying to do all these things to impress me and show me that she made a good decision, and she's efforting and doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? She's like, well, I just want to prove to you. And I'm like, but I already made a good decision. I don't need you to continually sell to me that it was the right one. I know it was the right one. She goes, well, I know, but there's people out there with more qualifications. Yeah, but they're not you. Because the thing that I hired you for is your heart, your spirit, your tenacity, the fact that you have loyalty, the fact that I know if I have a great idea at midnight, I can call you. This is the kind of relationship I want, and it feels right because I can go the miles with you. Someone that has all the stuff on the resume, I might not be able to go the miles with them, but you, I will go the miles with, and I'm going to spend the next probably 5 to 10 years convincing you to never leave me. That's how perfect you are for the job. And she's like, oh. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, trust your instincts and use all of your senses when you're looking at everything, but also when you're looking at your success in life, your success in acquiring these habits. How do you feel? Yes, feelings matter. I got some people that I work with who jokingly say, be like, ugh, I'm allergic to feelings. Yep, well, that's not gonna help you. Feelings matter, and you're having them. And if you're ignoring them, you're ignoring extremely important data.
Well, one last question before we wrap up here. You've mentioned you're an entrepreneur. You've had a company for 19 years, have a few companies. For somebody right now, I'm one of those crazy people that started a company during the pandemic. But for other people maybe considering becoming an entrepreneur, what advice would you have for them? And maybe what do you wish you would have told yourself 19 years ago that now, or something like that?
Is it okay if I answer this a little bit long? Because
Sure.
That's such a good question, and there's a lot there. So first of all, hats off to you for deciding to jump into entrepreneurship in the middle of the pandemic. There's never been a better time.
Yeah, that's I think there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, the last company that I had, we had our biggest year-over-year growth in 2009 of all years. So I've been able to turn turn bad circumstances into at least something good can come out of it. So yeah, I believe there's plenty of opportunity out there.
Heck yeah! Well, that's really incredible. So you know what? People oftentimes talk themselves out of starting businesses in times of crisis. Meanwhile, that's where the most millions are made, is if you can get a business off the ground in the middle of things being largely off kilter.
Yeah.
Imagine how well you'll do when things are really kind of running smoothly in the world. So something to
Yeah.
think about. So my first company was started when I was 19. The second one I got off the ground really just this year. It was kind of like I spent 2 years writing the book, launched it this year. And the thing that I would love to go back in time and probably tell my younger self, I'm going to write another book about this. So stay tuned. God knows when that's going to be, because I'm super busy right now and it's fun. But I think that we get so caught up in what things need to look like and really being attached to outcomes and really being attached to, I want this thing this way at this date. What we
Yeah.
don't do is give ourselves freedom and flexibility to trust that it will manifest the way it's supposed to, but maybe not the way we've envisioned it. And I think that there's a lot of things that I wish I had done differently. I regret nothing, and they
Sure.
led
Yeah.
me to where I am. But
Yeah.
looking back, are there lessons I wish I could have told my 19-year-old self and had stubborn 19-year-old self listen to? Hell yeah. Number one, quit being so stubborn. Like, just because you think you know everything, you are so mistaken. No, you don't. Humble yourself. Learn and ask questions. I mean, I'll give you a list. That one. Two, just ask for what you want. The worst that can happen to you is people say no and they look at you funny. Whatever. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You'll find somebody else. You'll be fine. Just take a swing. 3, yeah, you really need to deeply, deeply have an unbelievable relationship with yourself. And you need to look at that. And yes, it's integral to your success because you do have an upper limit that your current version of self can achieve. And breaking through that upper limit is only possible when you actually work on yourself and you master the right habits. I can't tell you how much I wish I'd known that.
Yeah.
Communicate clearly, often, make sure that people are super ultra clear with you and that you're very clear with them. And don't worry about stepping on feelings because integrity is much more important. Number 5, I'd like to tell you I always did the right thing when I was younger. No, I didn't. I cut corners and, whatever. Don't do that. It's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I totally know how to do that. And then furiously run to Google and try to figure it out. But it's quite another to be in a predicament, not know how to solve it, and then handle it like crap because you just don't have the courage to say, I don't know. But there's so much value in vulnerability in saying, I don't know. And, I would say probably number 6 would be relationships are one of the most important things you'll ever have. Do not burn any bridges. And if someone does you wrong in business, chances are it's never going to be about you. It's probably because they haven't worked on themselves or they got something going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it. Or if they're not showing up in integrity and they're acting like crap, it's probably because they had a bad day or somebody else burned them years ago. And it doesn't mean that you can fix that. And it's not your job to try. Honestly, I don't want to make this a really, really long answer because I know that's not what you're looking for, but I will tell you there's so many things out there that like people need to know about. And at the end of the day, it comes to self, courage, and integrity. Those are the 3 pillars. And when it comes to working on yourself, like I desperately wish that I could take my book and give it to 19-year-old me and just be like, Laura, of all the things that you're going to do in your life, do this. This will make you millions. This will make you richer, faster, happier, and more efficiently. Just do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining the show. I know I wish we had more time to follow a few more of those threads, but thanks for joining the show. For those listening, what's the best way for them to keep up with what you're doing?
So the center of everything that I'm focused on these days is at the6habits.com. The word six is spelled out, the S-I-X habits.com. You can get your hands on a free copy of the 6 Habits. Just cover the shipping and handling, and I'll mail it right to you. You can learn about the 90-day program if that's something you're interested in. And you can find out when my TED Talk is coming right alongside me, because I don't even know, because it got rescheduled because of COVID. So let's find out together.
Great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Laura DiBenedetto, best-selling author of The 6 Habits and CEO of Vision Advertising, for joining the show. To learn more about customer and employee experience, I recommend you go to my website at gregkillstrom.com and make sure to check out my latest book, The Center of Experience. More information is available on my website or wherever the book is available, like Amazon. Thanks for listening to The Agile World with Greg Killstrom. See you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile World podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. I'm your host, Greg Killstrom. You can learn more and get a copy of my latest book, The Center of Experience, from my website at theagile.world or on Amazon or other retailers. Until next week, stay agile.